All right. So you picked up the Wilds beta, and you want to learn how to play Hunting Horn. Maybe you're a brand new person to Hunting Horn. Maybe you wanted to give it a shot this game. Maybe you're a Hunting Horn veteran. You came from World, and you're like, man, this feels really fast. This doesn't feel like World. Something's off. Maybe you're a Rise player, and you're like, what's this very slow and clunky way of playing Hunting Horn? What is this? So I'm just gonna sit down and go over a really. We're gonna go through this. We're gonna talk about the base moveset. We're gonna talk about the gimmicks of the game, um, and then uh, we're gonna go through a fight, and we're gonna talk about some fight theory, right? For those who maybe are new or don't know what's going on, or just a refresher for people who haven't played the weapon in a minute. So let's go over our base moveset. Undergorn's base moveset is the world moveset. So we have what I like to call left swing, right swing, heavy swing. So left swing is going to be on my screen triangle. Right swing is, of course, circle. And then heavy swing is the triangle circle, right? We have our left swing, our right swing, and then this backwards swing. And that is uh, that's our base set, right? This is without any inputs. This is just our raw moves, right? Neutral. Like fighting games, this is considered neutral because there's no inputs being put in except for the attacks themselves. Okay. So we have our directionals, right? So in World and in Wilds, there are two directionals. They existed in Rise, but not as much. Um, so we have forward left swing, which goes into a forward slam. We have forward right swing, which goes into a double swing, which if you time it right, you can get a second note out of it. And if you do forward, left, and right, you get a heavy slam. This is a very interesting move. Now, uh, one of the interesting quirks about heavy slam in this game in particular is if you time it right, you can get a second note out of it. This is not true in World, but this is true here. So I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to mention that now while we're discussing the base moveset and we're discussing the right swing having the ability to do double input, so can the heavy slam. So the last move in our basic set is going to be the hilt stab. The hilt stab is back. I missed the hilt stab. I think we all did. Those who've played the weapon in previous like World and previous versions. So the way this is done is after any swing, if you were to press any input and then a back input at the same time, you get a hilt stab. So if I do left swing into a back triangle, I get a hilt stab. If I were to do a forward slam into back triangle, I get a hilt stab. If I do circle, I hit triangle circle, I get a hilt stab. So this is a way to quickly get another move in. It's also it's extremely good for notes. Okay, so we have our notes. We have our base move set. We understand how it works. Let's talk about performance mode. Okay, performance mode has changed. It's not Rise, where it was extremely one-dimensional. Literally, it was one move, and it kind of just it did a thing. This isn't World, where it's an entirely new contextual move set that had it's kind of almost like a stance weapon, where it had its basically its own move set and its own way of playing and doing things. It's very much more fluid, just like Rise, but it still has more contextual actions like World. So we have 5 different ways of getting into performance mode. We have, well, actually, technically 6, right? So we have our neutral stance. We have a neutral input, which is just going to play. Okay. We have our forward, which is going to be a kick up. The rest of these are going to be easier to do with the lock mode or the focus mode, which for me is L2. So that I believe that's left bumper or left trigger. Sorry, left trigger, and then I forget what it is on other input systems. But so the next two are going to be left and right. So let me get handful more. Let me get a couple more. So we got left, which you'll do this left swing, and then right, which you'll do this right swing. Okay. One weird quirk about these base sets before we continue into moving into talking about these. Well, okay, let's go to the sixth one really quickly. So if you do the hilt stab, and then you go to performance, you'll do this swing up. Okay? So those are your 6, right? In performance mode, we have a whole bunch of different moves that we can do. One weird quirk about performance mode in this is that if I were to do neutral, and I were to immediately put a forward input in, I can do this repositioning from behind to in front of me. This is wild specific. I don't know why this is a thing, but this is a thing. There's probably some tech that we'll be able to do in the future with that, and there's something to explore there. But right now, I don't know what it is. So that's the first thing about performance. We have 3 directionals in performance. We have left. We have right. And then we have forward. Okay. People who've played Hunting Horn in the past are familiar with backwards. We do not have a backwards input anymore. We only have a forward, left, and a right. Okay, that's going to be pretty jarring for world users, and even people who played maybe have played the weapon in older iterations where we always had a backwards input, even though it changed its properties a lot. It was probably, I think, one of the few that changed the most. But yeah, that's no longer present, so we don't have that anymore. So those are the different contexts. The last thing when it comes to performance mode is at any point in the system when you're performing, you can hit Encore, which will do the finisher and pull you out. This will also play the song again to give you the purple, right? Just like previous iterations with Generations and Rise. So if I were to play a song, to go forward, another song, and I were to hit Encore, I'll do the finisher, and I get the finisher, I get to leave, I get the secondary performance for the 2 previous, and then the self-improvement that wasn't used gets stored. Okay. So let's talk about the gimmicks of the game, because we've already encountered a couple, with Heavy Slam being able to do a secondary input with this weird shifting and the performance mode, right? But let's talk about very game-centric, gimmicks. The first thing is going to be Echo Bubble. So over on the left side of the screen, where you can see the note staff, there is a tuning fork. That tuning fork has 3 dots next to it. Each one represents a charge for Echo Bubble. The way we use this is we're going to hit, at least for me, it's X and R2 at the exact same time. You get the opportunity to do 3 inputs. The window is decently short, but it will put down a AoE with an effect dependent on the hunting horn that you are using, and it will also do a shockwave. So let's do that now. Do a heavy, or do a tech up. Here we go. So I'm not entirely sure how long this AoE lasts for, but what I do know is the effect at the top left of the screen is going to be, again, this one is agility focused, so it's movement speed and evasion. This effect lasts for 2 seconds, but is constantly being refreshed as long as you're within the AoE. The AoE itself is actually quite large, so you can see that even though there's a little pulsing ring to my left, I'm still within the area of effect because it's up in the top right, top left of the screen. I leave for 2 minutes, and then for 2 seconds, and I lose it. I come back in, and I can regain it. So there's actually quite a decent amount of versatility in this. The AoE is much larger than it shows. And I can even sit here and see. So this is the edge of it, and this affects you and your allies. So it's extremely useful to have around. Okay, you get 3 charges. Use them intelligently. This is a resource management system now. So as opposed to previous iterations of these Echo AoE bubbles, this one is a far greater resource management thing. It's far less about songs, right? Just extra songs. So the next thing is going to be offset melody. So just to show that is the way this works is it's basically like a built-in parry. Not every weapon has this. This specifically Hunting Horn has this offset melody. Offsets themselves exist on certain weapons, but not all. And it's basically a parry. You go into a stance, and if you time your attack correctly, you will do a counterattack. If you hit a monster while they're doing a heavy attack, you have the potential to knock down, KO, stun, etc. It does really well. So you have a startup, and then you have the swing. Okay, and when we go into the fight later on, you'll when we were talking about actual fight theory, we'll show it off a bit more. Okay. The final thing is in focus mode. If I were to hit R1, which is going to be right bumper, there's going to be a Earth Shaker. So we have the Earth Shaker. The Earth Shaker is back, but it has far more context this time. So the way that Earth Shaker works is whenever I make contact with an opponent, this is a new gimmick that also exists within this game, a lot like the Malzeno effect in Rise. You can build up these damage bubbles on the monster. If you hit one with Earthshaker, you will tether, and then you'll be allowed to play 5 notes in succession. After that, you will do a crescendo, which will do a sonic boom, and it will create a large burst, which then stun, KO, etc. Echo Bubble, which I forgot to mention, also does this when it gets placed. Okay, and whenever you swing an Echo Bubble, you get these as well. So, the sonic booms, the kind of like the sonic effects that we had in World and in Rise have kind of been implemented like this time around. Okay, so this is extremely useful to know. Or it's extremely necessary when in fights. Okay, so it's an important thing to understand. So we have a lot of ways of doing stun, KO, exhaust, knockdown, stun, KO, exhaust, part break, stuff like that. We're very good at that in this game, just like we have it in previous titles, but now even more so because the sonic effects are not just tied to certain weapons or certain attributes of the weapon, but it's tied to inherent game mechanics for the weapon as a whole that are on their own resource cooldowns, which is really good. Okay, so let's go into fight theory, and for that, I'm just gonna pick any target to wail on. There's 2 of them there. You're going there. Chatacabra's going there. There's a herd of those, so yeah, let's go after the Chatacabra, and maybe we might even get Doshiguma. So, for setup, we obviously want to be aware of a few things. Our sharpness still matters, and this sharpness matters now more than it did previously. Yes, we still have Mind's Eye, which is, an effect that is granted by self-improvement. Mind's Eye, what it does is it makes it so that regardless of what your sharpness is, you will never bounce on a target, but you will do reduced damage. You will not be able to do criticals, etc., right? If you've never played Monster Hunter before, this is not this is not a beginner's guide. This is very much you've played Monster Hunter, or maybe you've played just a little bit and you understand base mechanics, but you just want to understand hunting horns. So. Okay, let's talk about the opening of fight theory. So, unlike in Rise, in World, we do want to have a little bit of setup. Our setup is going to be in the form of our abilities. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I have an offset melody active. We always want to make sure we have an offset melody during our engagements. We never want to be without one. If we use it, we want to prioritize getting it back immediately, because it can help protect us from really heavy attacks, okay? The second thing we want is self-improvement and attack up, okay? So offset melody, self-improvement, and attack up. Those are going to be the general openers that we want to have. Any other, song that you want to have active is really just, for fun. This is our base set. And let me very quickly use a dung pod and get this guy to go away so we can isolate better. Okay. Back to the sharpness. All right. So let's talk about this. So let's open up here. One of the interesting things that you can do in Wild specifically is do a sneak attack. seeing if he'll actually, if he won't turn towards me. Yeah, okay. So we can do a sneak attack as an opener, which does bonus damage. Okay, that's not bad. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do our songs. We're gonna do our self-improvement. So we got our self-improvement and our attack up. So the next thing we're gonna want to do is we're gonna set up our bubble, because again this is gonna give us stunning KO. You can see we already knocked down the monster. In this game, more than in Rise, the monster needs to be allowed to have his turn, but there's still ways of interjecting, even when that's happening. You also want to use these basic abilities to these basic attacks to give you the things like self-improvement and the such. So he's knocking me down there. That's fine. He's gonna go for another jump. Now, I could use Offset Melody on that, but we're not going to. Gonna do another attack up just to make sure that we still have that going. Gonna pull myself out of that. Again, it's managing of these bubbles. Okay, so he's gonna do the charge. He did it in a really... So, this is kind of where Hunting Horn has always had its issues, is because of the weird diagonal attacks that it has. If you're fighting in any form of verticality or angular anything, you run into issues. I don't have any. That's okay. I'm gonna need it to eat, but it's fine. I'm gonna do an attack up here really quick. You can engage again. Do a performance. Maintain that. And with the left swing, do a performance really quickly. Do the echo again. We have 3. We can mess with it. We can really, we can afford to use it. Slam again. Left swing. Heavy slam. What we really want to do is we just want to let the monster have its turn. We want to let them attack. We evade in that moment, and then we reposition, and then we hit them again. We're playing a very, very slow kind of footsies. Where we kind of just hit them. We let them swing back. We reposition, and we hit again. The name of the game is reposition, and that's it, right? It's just reposition, reposition, reposition all the time, right? Don't let yourself get hit, you know, unless absolutely necessary. And, okay, this is interesting. I've never seen this interaction before. That's very interesting. Okay. So... So we have the slam. Gonna go for the pull up. Doesn't happen. Do the slam. For those who are familiar with the backward slam, that's still doable in this game. So I'm gonna do the parry here. Oh. So you can see that it protected us. Do backward slam, and I'm gonna roll out of the way. I'm gonna do a forward slam to give me some space. Yeah, see, did a charge. So space control and range control is really useful here. Just like in World. Maybe not as effective in Rise, but definitely useful here. Okay. So, I'm going to pop up the attack up again. Pull out of this. Secondary slam. So there's another monster. We're gonna hit it with the large dung pod. Hopefully get it to get away. I'm gonna see if I can't. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna do the AoE again. And this kind of loop where you're just like letting the monster have its attack, you get out of the way, you punish it, you get out of the way of the monster attack, you reposition again, you attack it. It doesn't change. This doesn't change based off of the monster. It's just learning the monster and being able to take advantage of it. So we put down the AoE again. Go for the slam. Another slam. You notice that I'm yellow now in my sharpness. So one quirk in the world moveset is this right swing is faster than left swing. So we're just going to, I don't want to say abuse it, but like basically that's what we want to be taking advantage of. Hello. How's it going? Please go away. Please go away. See if he, So they both got hit, so the Chupacabra is going to leave as well. Which is fine. We're just going to chase. The dynamicness of... The dynamic... I don't know what the word I'm trying to say is, but the point is the Wilds is extremely dynamic in comparison to World, in comparison to Rise. These kinds of events definitely didn't happen as much. We're gonna change zones. We're gonna move to a new one, and then we get to engage again. So they changed the way mounting works a little bit. We have multiple attacks now. Okay, so you can see that I have one of these zones. I'm gonna do damage to it right now. I'm gonna play, get out, pop my bubble, immediately go into a performance, and then I'm gonna cancel out because I know he has the ability to. Okay, so he's gonna empower his claws again. He didn't go for me that time, so that's okay. Again, we're gonna... So, like I said before, we're gonna try and make sure that we have the melody at any given point in time, which now we do, again. Okay. So that was a really strong slam. You could use the offset melody on that, but I didn't feel like I had the startup time. So he's limping now. He's going to leave zones again. We're going to chase. In between zones, check your sharpness. I let mine just go just a little too long, but that's okay. It looks like he's going to... Yeah, this is the... What this is usually where they sleep. What I recommend doing here is, see if it's actually asleep yet. It is. Okay. What I recommend doing here is I recommend doing the dance, the echo bubble. Alternatively, the earth shaker might also be useful if they have the markings, but since they don't, we're just going to use the echo bubble here. You can see 75, go into performance. Gonna roll out of it instead of doing the finisher, right? Because we want to just keep uptime on the monster. Slam down, do a performance really quick. There you go, and down. So this weapon, more like World, heavily relies on positioning to take advantage of just the spacing between you and the monster. Let the monster have its move. You get to have your move. You go back and forth in this style of dance. But very much less so like World, where you almost have to have very deep monster knowledge to even allow that to occur. Here it's far more fluid in that you're playing in your base moveset more than normal. So yeah, that's kind of it. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments section. I'll try to answer them as best as I can. But that's yeah, that's all I got. So you guys take it easy, enjoy the beta, enjoy Hunting Horn, and let's have some fun. So, shoot some horns.